Adam, have you set any records in your lifetime?
No, not unless you count the number of times I've embarrassed my kids.
It's showtime. This is The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast, and your one and only source for all things show skiing, bringing you news, knowledge, and interviews with the legends and stars of our sport. Here are your hosts, Matt Heilman and Adam Schaller.
Welcome to The Ski Show, coming to you from snowy Wisconsin, where winter sucks, and I continue to tell my family we can do something about it, but that is falling on deaf ears. Thank you again to our introductory voiceover there by Steve Welch. This is our second episode of the 2024 season. After our debut episode featuring Jordan Long, we had over 100 views on our YouTube episode. We hope you enjoy the video component as we proceed along this season. Today's episode is all about breaking records. We have Eric Gran and Kevin Ostermeier joining us in a little bit to talk about what's possible, what's not, what's to come in the record-breaking world.
Matt, today's sponsors are Flyman Skis, custom-made jump skis, and featherboard swivel skis at affordable prices. Get yours at flymanskis.com and by the board shop. All the summer and winter sports gear you need is yours at bswake.com.
We are only 1 month away from the Ski Show Awards when this episode airs. 1 month. We're excited again to have our live award show where we shine a light on show skiing. That's really the goal. Like, so many great people, so many successes in 2023. Our goal with this award show from the beginning is to shine this spotlight on what an awesome sport show skiing is. Ticket sales are trending ahead of last year, which is incredible. Make sure you get yours and don't miss this event.
Yep, that's right. We want everybody to get dressed up. That's right. Cocktail attire for the award show. 6:30 will be cocktails. 7:30 will be showtime. The bars will be closed during the show. And there will be no dance after the event.
There's not. We were going to have Fugacity. Their schedule actually didn't match. There was a scheduling conflict, so Fugacity dance party is not happening after the award show anymore. Not a big deal. We're actually going to have music playing after the show. It's going to be the same Friday night we've had the last few years. The show is taking center stage. Yes, Adam mentioned we're closing the bar during the show. We really, again, we want to keep the noise down during the actual awards portion. There's people traveling from everywhere. There's people being honored in 31 categories. We want to be respectful to them and to the honor that is there. So you will be able to drink before, bring a flask if you need to during. Bars are gonna open right away after. A lot of photo ops, a lot of fun. Get your tickets at thinktankwi.com. Make sure you get them. Get your tickets to Think Tank, all the tanks and clinics, the Saturday night WWSF recognition dinner, and our award show. We'd like to see you all there. It is the event to be at in the off season. Before we get to our show ski trivia this week, Adam, we got to talk a little bit about Flyman Skis.
Yeah, these guys are set for a huge 2020 format. They've got fantastic custom-made jump skis and featherboard swivel skis. More and more skiers are riding Flyman, enjoying top performance and the good looks of their customization of those skis.
Yeah, and they have a honeycomb product in the works that some folks are jumping on now that'll be hitting the market soon. Incredible new products in store this year. They've got it all at Flyman Skis.
That's right. Skiers everywhere are making the switch to Flyman, and you should too. Get yours at flymanskis.com. That's flymanskis.com.
All right, Adam. Time for our show ski trivia. You ready for this?
No.
I mean, last week you didn't have, we talked about the World Tournament, most outstanding. You didn't have many guesses. You did okay. This time we're taking a leap. We're going to stick with kind of award winners. We're taking a leap into Skip Gilkerson and Willa Cook award winners today. So here's and here's your question. So there's a recent post on the forum actually asking who the oldest ever Willa Cook winner was. And we believe it was Kathy Lighting at age 45. Okay? But today's question is a little bit different. Here's the question for you. How many women have won the Willa Cook Award more than once? And how many men have won the Skip Gilkerson Award more than once? And can you name them? That's the important part. Can you name the people who have won Willa and Skip more than once?
Matt, you know what I like about this trivia is you bank on the fact that I do not read this script prior to this show. And you're right. I don't. I 100%. Should. Okay, so here, multiple, they have to have won Skip and Willa multiple times. I'm going to say Kristen Heilman Block won it.
That is correct. 1994 and 2006. She's won it twice.
Jerry Lighting.
That would be incorrect. He won it once.
Dave Raisin.
David Raisin won Skip in 1996 and 2005.
All right. What about... Oh, man, the name is escaping me. Wonder Lake guy. What is his... I can see him.
Dude, are you getting old?
Yeah, totally.
I know who you're thinking of. There's actually more than one Wonder Lake guy on the list. It's a big hint for you.
Okay, well, it doesn't help because I was only thinking of one.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell me the Wonder Lake guys.
So, Bob Hartman.
Hartman, that's it. Yep.
That's who you were thinking of. Yep. Bob Hartman. 1994 and 2004.
Okay.
Who do you think the other Wonder Laker is that's won it twice on the male side, the Skip Gilkerson Award?
Gosh, I want to say it's either Hansen or Rishling. I don't know.
It is Dan Hansen. Dan Hansen won it twice, 2001 and 2017.
Okay. Willa. Mm-hmm. God, there's somebody that won it. Did somebody win it like back to back? No.
Twice. It's happened more recently.
Bria,
she won it in 2021 and 2022.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Okay.
You got that.
Kathy Lighting's probably won it more than once, hasn't she?
Kathy Lighting won it in 93 and 2007.
Okay. Jeannie McGinnis?
She did not.
Okay.
She won it once. She is going to be our next podcast guest, though. So, good guess there.
Well, I was setting up the next podcast. That's why I did that.
Yeah, you were. Totally.
Kaylee Kohler?
Kaylee, she won it twice, 2018 and 2019.
Well, I'm just going to stop right there. I did pretty good.
2 women, and you have 2 men. You have another teammate of yours on the male side. The best in our championship years.
The best in our championship years. Oh, Paul O'Connor.
Paul O'Connor won it in 2007 and 2009.
Okay.
He won it twice. John DeBellick also won it in 92 and 2006. And on the ladies' side, Janie Dibble won it in 89 and 90. And Trista Foster won it in 2001 and 2012. So there in total, there were 6 females who have won the Willa Cook Award twice. There are 5 males who have won the Skip Gilkerson Award twice. We have yet to have a 3-time winner to my knowledge. So,
all right.
There you go. That is this week's Show Ski Trivia.
Okay, time to get to this week's interview. We have two guests on the show. Both have played integral roles in record-breaking attempts in our sport. We have them here today to talk about what's next, what's possible, and what's not. Let's say hello to Eric Gran and Kevin Ostermeier.
Good evening.
Woo! Hey, guys.
Thanks for having us.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
We're good. We're good. This is awesome having you guys on the show. Breaking records. You know, we had a show. It's been 2 or 3 seasons ago now. We had an episode on the chain of records. Specifically on that event. We focused on that. It's been a while, and there's a lot been happening in the record-breaking realm. We want to talk about that. We want to talk about you two guys today. Let's start here. What past record-breaking events have you guys been a part of? Kind of set up our audience, kind of your history and involvement in show ski record-breaking events.
Sure. So, Kevin, you want me to get going on that?
Yep.
So, I kind of started with it with the first big pull event, which goes back to 1999, and that was kind of a...
I was going to ask about that. Was that the start in 99? Big pull was kind of the first big thing.
Yeah. It was the first triple rig out there. How big can we go? What can we do? Lots of different teams. It was aqua skiers in Badgerland, but it was pulling a bunch of people together. Come on up to the state site and let's see what can happen. And we did that for, I think, 2 years. And then that's when kind of the alternating year thing started for a while. And, my part at the beginning was just helping out with it, doing rigging and ski equipment and that kind of stuff and helping pull that together with the leaders. And then we started the pyramid thing in 2006 and did a record there, and then what started happening, though, Guinness wasn't approving anything. We started trying to do Guinness at that point, and nobody was really going to Guinness saying, what do we actually need to do? We did that again in 2012, and then that's where I ended up taking over because I was getting really fed up with breaking pyramid records and not having it get approved. And then I've kind of run the big pull stuff, and because of that, got pulled into Chain of Records in 2015, and have been doing that ever since.
Kevin, how about you?
I started out with going to those big pull events up at Wazicha, but at the time I was skiing with Mercury teams, so the conflict of interest with Evinrude being the towboat kind of ruled me out for that. But just the attempts and everything, and the excitement at what could be the reward and whatnot was fun to watch and kind of take note and kind of learn from it, and hopefully one day I get invited to it. And then kind of got enough ears or mouths in my ear and ended up saying we can do this too, and like we can do 4 highs and we can get a couple others scratched in there and we can figure this out too. So a lot of bar conversations. And then the 2018 pyramid, we used a tandem boat pole, and that was before many people really knew who I was. I joined RAJ in 2015, and in 2018 we're doing this. So it was a lot of, hey, just trust me and it might work. And thankfully we got a lot of talent there to pull it off. And then it was pretty much scratch the itch for people. And then it really put the motivation behind it of what else can we do? And it was like competition is a good thing. So it kind of forced each party to innovate when there was still Evinrude around, and then Mercury, and then all the changes with COVID. But ever since then, I've been helping Gran wherever he needs me for big pull or the Chain of Records events, and just kind of like, I know you have your video people, but I have the critical thinking eyes. So like, where can you use me? And it's only fun when it's successful. So let's make that happen.
Was the big pull always an Evinrude thing?
It really started out that way because Evinrude had sponsored that first triple rig, and they wanted to push that limit and tag their name on it, kind of thing. And over the years, they did take a lot of that footage, and they would even send up professional crews sometimes to some of the events. And so we'd have these guys with these specialty boats with gyroscopic mounts and stuff. So it was up until Evinrude folded. And then when Evinrude folded, Kevin and I started talking and said, these events are getting so big, the specialty resources that we need at the record events, it became kind of stupid to have two different camps working on that because it was just getting too expensive, to be honest. And so now we pool our resources for any of these events wherever we can. So when Kevin hosts one in Janesville, I'm bringing whatever big pole chain of records resources I have available to him, and vice versa. When we have something going on in central Wisconsin or Florida, he's bringing resources to that event.
The evolution of this is super interesting because, Kevin, you mentioned the tandem boat pull. And our younger audience probably thinks that's a new thing, when the reality is that's a really old thing.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they used to have an inboard, pulling an inboard to get off a big enough pyramid, and then that sort of left the sport for, I don't know, 20 or 30 years. You didn't see a tandem pull in a show or it at all until it came back to this, and now you're seeing more of it. Talk a little bit about that tandem pull and why it's necessary, and is it necessary going forward? I mean, if we're going to do 100, 120, whatever the number is, talk about that tandem a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely started way before my time. And I think Brent Burrell does it down in Backwater Gamblers. He still has the mechanism up in his bow, so it is still alive and well to this day. But it was nice to pull that one off the shelf, and when it was a good show of strength to go behind a single boat and like watching it, hoping it happened, and then kind of investigating and asking Guinness questions of what are the limitations of Guinness. And for all them, they're just, as long as the pyramid is a pyramid, that's all we really care about. We don't care about what's towing it, and as long as it's one behind one boat in the 300-yard section. And so as soon as they greenlit that, it was okay, let's get J.R. Wilson. It was the pull boat of the tow boat. So, and he had experience from doing the tandem pulls from back in the day, prior to my time, when they're trying to pull 4 highs with 2 twin rigs. It's like the guys held on way tighter back then than what we're doing now. So it was cool to use that again. And I think that's we have a lot more to play around with the 300 horsepower outboards. I think we can play more with the propellers and the pitches of them, as well as having that additional pull boat. So pretty much as long as they're not the high end barefoot pyramid, barefoot line speeds, then these 300s plus a pull boat should really be able to keep on moving that bar. We should be able to crush the 100 mark, and keep going up by multiples of 12. So that's kind of my intention at this point. And
you mentioned the 300s. Now, is there a 500 in the works? What is there a boat that's being rigged with those?
Sure.
So you've heard in the grapevine, and Eric can take over from there.
Yeah.
We've seen little teaser videos, right? In the 500, it's coming. There's teasers on social media.
Yep.
Are you, in fact, rigging up a new legacy with 555s?
Yes. So there's the short answer.
Yes.
So there's a differentiation here that everybody should be aware of. And a lot of this is, I don't know if we'll talk about it later, but Guinness might be on their way out that we're doing records for them just because of some policy changes. But the pyramid record is the kind of original water ski or show ski record for Guinness. And it was written and it predates all the other ones. And so there is no spec in there about having to be behind a single boat. It's different for everything else. Everything else we've done, they do specify a single boat. And that's when Kevin came and said, can we do 2 boats? And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing in there. It was only Evinrude that kept us from doing tandem because they didn't want that. They wanted, stake their claim on the single boat. So the 555 rig is kind of my personal belief that in some of the really big lines records that we can only have 1 boat, we've hit that limit with 300. So we know when we get to like the doubles line, the trios line, ballet line, that really big stuff, we've kind of topped that out. I mean, we've played around with boat ballast weight and different pitch props and stuff like that, and we've kind of maxed out and found that limit. And so I said after the last one, I won't run any more unless we somehow find a bigger boat. And a sponsor for the Shawano Ski Sharks heard that statement and said, I want to make a bigger boat and put my name on it. And so
it's going to be on Shawano's legacy?
It is. So
is this going to only be rigged for an event and then de-rigged and used, or is Shawano going to be rolling out 1,500 horse at state?
1,500 horsepower.
Dave Casale better be listening to this because he wants to tow that thing into state tournament. Yeah, it is going to be their regular boat for this season with triple 500s on the back.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We hope it doesn't go to the bottom when we drop it in at the boat launch.
Right. Tail end, sink to the bottom.
Well, how much heavier is a
Come on,
500?
Legacy.
How much heavier is a 500 versus a 300?
It's significant. Kevin, do you know off the top of your head? I don't remember. We've been talking about it.
It's like roughly 200 pounds. So times
Per
3,
engine.
it's about 600.
Yeah.
So it's
600
about a
pounds.
strap and a fourth 300 on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although we're also looking at the Aqueduct's triple 350 rig with the Suzukis, and the triple 500s are actually a little lighter than that. So their boat seems to run just fine, and it's a difference in the blocks, and the triple 500s are actually about 40 pounds lighter than that boat, and theirs is working great.
That's incredible.
We're hoping.
Man, can't wait to see that, the 500 horsepower. I mean, we're skipping right over 400s and 450s. We're going from 3 to 5. Let's just do it. That's awesome. I love the vision. I can't wait to see that boat rolled out. Adam, you know who else is breaking records right down in Lake Geneva?
I do. The board shop.
They are. Nobody has sold more summer and winter sports gear to this audience than the board shop. They've got apparel, skis, boots, bindings, accessories, literally everything you would ever want.
Yep, I've got my board shop shirt on today. Jason outfitted my entire family with downhill skis last season. Jason and his staff will take care of all your needs, whether it's summer or winter. They have a gorgeous shop in Lake Geneva, and you can get what you need online at bswake.com. That's bswake.com.
What's next? Are there events coming now? Like Chain of Records, there was word, like that can't be not going to be an every year thing. It's too much to plan. Is Chain of Records done? Is Big Pull alive? What's coming, Eric and Kevin?
Chain of Records, I think Kevin will agree with me on this one. In its format we've done in the past, I don't see another one happening, at least from the group that's run it, and that's pretty much universal across the board. Kevin, was it exhausting?
I wasn't even a part of your main committee, and it was exhausting observing and helping where needed. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah. So, it's not to say that we may find some, run a day or two in Florida in the future. That could potentially happen. But the 5-day craziness, I don't see it happening. It's just too intense to pull it off kind of thing. So, Big Pull, what's coming? I'm going to qualify this with a statement that part of this we're not 100% sure yet. September 8th, this one is for sure. There'll be a barefoot event in Shawano. It'll be the barefoot line run like we have in the past, trying to tax the triple 500s. That's what the sponsor wanted. We're going for, hopefully break 40, but the goal is 45 footers for that. And then
What's the current record?
The current record is 38.
38, so going for 45.
Yeah, would be awesome. We've tried it once before, didn't make it. We're unsuccessful, so we're trying with the bigger boat.
Okay.
September 14th will be the qualifier to everybody in the audience watching. Is we're going to do an event like we did in 2022. It'll be a Big Pull multi-record in a single day event at Lake Dubay. It's the Water Walkers home site in Mosinee, Wisconsin. And it should be strap doubles line, ballet line, and pre-built pyramids is the plan right now. The qualifier with that is we need 3 permits to shut down that waterway. We have 2 of the 3, but the third one we won't hear about until about mid to end of February. So we're moving ahead with all the plans. It could fall apart if we don't get the water closure permit, the final one.
So how many records that day, if we flesh that out? Assuming you get the water permit, the 14th, is that, so you mentioned a few, is that the plan? So reiterate that, doubles, pyramid.
Yep. Doubles, ballet, and pre-built pyramids, which would be a brand new one.
Pre-built. You're not going to do a pyramid one. Kevin, are you guys doing a pyramid one in your neck of the woods again?
Probably next year.
Yeah. Not
Maybe.
in 24, but 25? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, I would say 25. just take a year off again. And
Okay.
There's a lot of variables that go into that one.
How many for the pre-builts, Eric?
We're going to start with 8. There is no official NSSA record right now.
Right.
Nobody has submitted. Wonder Lake, you probably should.
Yes.
You got it on lock. As far as we know, the records committee said 6 is what we've seen, we believe, at a nationally ranked tournament out of Wonder Lake. So we're kind of setting that as the bar. We're going to start with 8 and maybe go for as many as 10 if we can make it. So
Awesome.
Talk to the audience a little bit about like what, in terms of size of pyramid or number of skiers behind a boat, what's the current record, and then what's possible?
Kevin, you want to talk about the pyramid maybe first?
Sure. The the tolerances are getting tighter and tighter, and it is more and more not just it's easy to point fingers at the towboat for whatever we can do, and now it's going towards like the towboat, pole boat. That's the easy part now. Now it's how big of a barge do we need, and how long of ropes do we need so that the outside four highs are not centering the four highs on a cut, and or if that's the way it's got to be, then you better be good at it, or personnel selection, and that just adds onto it more and more. And again, like we've done 4 highs, but how many other people have done 4 highs or even 3 highs? And there's only so many teams that you can harvest from and get enough talent. And all it takes at the end of the day is one person to come unbraced, and then now you have 2 pyramids and you broke it, like in a bad way. So it's amazing how easily it can go wrong, and how frustrating it is to do that as well. But it's like the favorite part is handing out the Guinness certificates at the end once we cross that finish line and you know that you nailed it.
Current record's 93, right?
Yep. Yeah, we set the 93 in, what was it, end of 22. And it was a little messy. And and we knew right away that like one of the poles was smooth. We could definitely get over 100. A lot of the team members from other teams and boat drivers knew like you guys had it, just a couple more tweaks. So definitely want to get back after that one again. And it's just
what do you think is possible there? 120?
That would be great. I would love to see 112 first. I'd love to see 100 first. But that's the wider table and back. We're about 300 feet back there. So it's driver to handle is end zone to end zone. And they can't see. I don't care how good their vision is. They're going when they see the rope snap out of the water, and the rest of it is luck. And the guys holding on, and the sequence of the pole and towboat, and then again, like one of the pyramids that didn't look perfect was, if you notice, it was right on the crest of the wake of the left curl. So it's like, how do you minimize that? Or is it the skier? Is it the pattern of the way you drove it, or is it which part was it? And then you only have maybe 6 attempts at this, per time. So it's crucial. So I hope to keep on throwing at it, and we've had some good success and some hope reinstilled in us, and it's fun bringing on more teams now that more of us are Mercury. It's a lot easier to we're all in the same sandbox now to use the talent. And so it's fun to even ski next to Mad City now, and just kind of bring in the outsiders and just have fun. So
on the pyramid pole, are you guys doing it with staggered starting docks?
No.
So you went away from that. So that happened at one point 4 or 5 years ago, where there were multiple layers of starts, correct?
Yep, and that originated.
That was with the single boat.
And I saw that. I got that idea from like the one that we did in 2018. Yeah. I got the staggered from Wazicha's big pull attempts. So we just assumed that's what we should start with. And then, so in 2018, we just must have gotten lucky, and then got that off, miracle. And then in the 2022, we just go straight and hold on, for God's sakes. And don't pull the throttles back and pick them up again. Just bury it and go forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a straight pull for us now, and we won't change it.
What's the record for number of skiers towed behind one boat?
So that is my holy grail, so to speak, that we keep chipping away at behind the scenes. The current record is 145.
And that was behind that. You've seen the videos of that
like
wall of people behind that big ass boat.
It's like a yacht.
Car ferry or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. 145.
It's a car ferry over in Australia on the ocean.
Right.
So talking about resources, that's what it boils down to. And great if you can get the resources aligned, but then are all the skiers going to make it off the dock? Like, it's just, you're crossing fingers and everything.
Oh my
Well, for every
And that
for
one, Adam, I hope we can do it.
Yeah.
Sometime.
I mean, Kevin, you touched on it. For every person that you add, you just, there's just another level of possible failure, right? Because the skiers got to make it at the end of the day. And sounds to me like horsepower maybe isn't the constraint anymore. I mean, what do you run into in terms of other equipment limitations? I mean, talk to us about that.
So I'm going to back up what Kevin was saying there with, I think the logistics, and I think that's where you're going with this too, Adam, is probably a couple events ago has kind of overtaken as the biggest challenge within the event itself, whether it's the big pyramid, the big lines, multi-day event. The logistics is a major challenge in getting the right equipment to the right location where we need it, and having everything available. Everything from the ski site has become a problem. We used to run stuff at Wazicha. We can't anymore. It's not big enough, both lengthwise in some cases and certainly widthwise. The stuff that we're going to do in 2024 at Lake Dubé, we're doing it there for a reason because it's a huge site. We have to turn it. Both Guinness and NSSA require that the stuff we're doing there turns and comes back through the same course. It's a giant turn to get around that, and we also need control of the water, which is difficult to get at a lot of places. So we have to work with local governments to get that control so it's safe, and then finding the floaters. We have 8 teams involved this year, and mainly it comes down to teams that have the very specialized large floaters are the ones that I asked to sponsor. And if any one of them had said no, we wouldn't have been able to assemble the platform that we need to keep everybody up high enough off the water, because there's just not that many teams that have those big giant tunes.
Along with equipment stuff, you think about this, like every layer gets bigger. What about, ropes, doubles, pins, releases, harnesses, like, and at what point are you maxed out on some of those big lines, like, or have we not hit it? Is it that just a horsepower thing, or is there limits on pylon strength and pins and releases and all of that?
Kevin, how's that pylon?
Now that it's the way I want it, it's just fine. But it took 3 pylons to get there.
Yeah. So we've iterated over all the years and everything. First with Badgerland, and then over to RAJ, and onto the Suzuki boat with ducks and everything. And we learn every time. And Kevin, Kevin was being very quiet about how he was at these events, but what he was doing, if you look over, he was taking notes the whole time and looking at our failures over a bunch of years too, and where we broke things. We don't necessarily advertise that or even publish the video ever, because it gets a little nerve-wracking sometimes, but we've cracked mounting plates, bent pylons, sheared off releases, you name it, and we've talked to engineers and got them to build better. So if you look at Kevin's RAJ design boat, the release on that boat doesn't look like anybody else's anywhere except for the brand new Shawano boat, which we even took in what we challenged the RAJ boat in 2022. We took notes over that, and we sent it back to the engineers, and they redesigned it again, even past that. It's insane. I think the release weighs, 40-some pounds or something?
It's heavy. I hate putting that off.
Well, it's so, and you mentioned safety, and that's a huge thing. And I'm guessing over the years there's been oh shit moments, plenty of them, where you're worried about safety, you're worried about something happening, you're worried about a boat flipping over, you're worried about blowing a pylon out of the back of a boat, or that's happened. At what point do you feel like size is going to get to a point where you're like, I'm worried about this, or a transom's going to fall off the back of a boat and all the engines are going to end up at the bottom of the lake. Like, is there a point with safety and equipment that you're also keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so for me, my biggest fear point, I've shared this with Kevin and others that have helped run the event, my worst case scenario is a catastrophic pylon failure. To be clear, we have never had one yet. We've bent and come close, and we check after each pull. But that is my biggest fear, that happens. And at that point, we're done. Now, we continue to improve the materials, the design every time we iterate with these boats, moving up, the weight that we're pulling and everything. We've gone so far, while some people it may look random to, but we color code the costumes now in big lines. Anything that's coming off the pylon, the costumes and the ropes are color coded. The lines themselves, the trunk lines going out, those are color coded. Everything to give those pin pullers the best advantage that they have for pulling the right people at the right time.
Because that's got to be hard. If a doubles line is 250, 300 feet back, that's a long way for an observer to see that someone fell off the dock and is dragging behind 18 other people. Right?
Yep. So we have certain rules. One pin puller, no double pulls like we do in tournaments and stuff like that. It's one pin puller, one release, and they're color coded to their group behind the boat.
Yeah. At that Mosinee event last year, I was in the boat pulling pin, and was there like at least eight couples per pin? So it's like, even like, it is a big yank to make, and you're 1, 2, 3 to rip it, and because there's people dragging by now, and then when you cut that many people and release that weight, then the boat changes and everyone goes forward, and then someone else releases, and it's just a chain reaction of a mess. So just everything happens so fast.
Do you have spotters on the dock or on shore with a radio communicating falls in harnessed things like that?
Yeah, we actually have them communicating, even sometimes when it's not in harnesses or even stuff that's not in release. They're communicating because the boat crew can't see it. And so anybody who falls right off the dock, they're communicating how many people are down. If there's a harness fall, they're certainly communicating that out to them. So we always have a dock boss now with a radio right to the main boat.
Yeah, it's dangerous. We had the pyramid one, we had like the things, I mean, whatever you don't plan for, that's what's going to most likely happen. And they let out 250 feet of leader for the pyramid attempt. And right when it got down to the main lines, like the last 10 feet of the leader got wrapped around a cleat that was on like the city dock. And you're at the main lines, 50 feet to go of 300. That driver, there's no one's going to listen to that. You're committed to that the pull out. And sure enough, that cleat went flying to the other side of the river and, wrecked that leader, dropped the whole pyramid. And that's when we've built that pretty 84-person pyramid, I think. And like all the pyramids are up, great, 100%. But we had a leader got cut via the cleat at the dock. So it's like, it just changes everything. And like, I was terrified for even the leader holders, and how do you train them for that? It's just so much safety and the tight tolerances and the timing of things. It's just tough.
With all that goes in, go ahead, Matt.
Go ahead, Adam.
All right, you're good. With all that goes into this, the safety and the logistics, how do you guys keep it light and fun? Because I would imagine, I shouldn't imagine. Is it hard to fill spots? To get 150 people together?
No, the harder part is vetting the people out that shouldn't be there. That has become
because every Joe Blow skier wants to sign up. Well, I can do that, and they can't do it.
Turns into HR department real quick.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very good, Kevin. I like that. That's a good analogy to it.
It's like you're a triangle in my diagram. I'm trusting you can hold on to your handle. Don't make.
So there is a vetting, but there is a vetting process. So there needs to be, right? Yeah. You're skiing alongside 100 people. Safety is a top priority, and as well as the skill and ability of the people to be able to pull this off, you need to know that the person next to you can do their job at a high level, and just signing their name up on a spreadsheet doesn't mean that they can do it. So part of the records is you guys vetting through that process.
Yeah, right. And that's another thing why Chain of Records was such a challenge, because so many of those records were open registration, as we would call it, with vetting. And then, you know, the whole group of the various record captains, we'd spend months. I mean, it was months making calls to show directors and for people we didn't know. And we had a group that's been in show skiing a long time. There's still a lot of athletes we don't know in person, and trying to call everybody up, that the leadership that we do know, to vouch for those skills and everything. You know, so some of the stuff has moved to invite only. You know, Kevin has a little bit different process with the pyramids, and he can go through that. But some of the things are like the doubles line. It's an invite only, and we're taking just pretty much for the most part top national competitors that have done this for a long time. Because a single pin pull there means the whole thing's done. Mathematically, we have one release. We're not getting a record.
I give the doubles participants the most credit of any record out there, because there is no chance in hell I would want to be caught dead in a harness at that speed with that many people in that pull. F that. Kudos to all of those people.
Gran, you can confirm this, but riding in the boat, I feel like the scariest moment of that whole doubles thing is turning it. And having those skiers cut out, and the inside skiers who can't, and you see how deep they're skiing, and the boat can't turn anymore because he's cavitating, and what do you do? And pray you don't have to pull the pin.
And it's, you know, that's the thing. It almost, for those couple records that we're required to do that, that's almost worse than the start now. We always used to say it was the start, but that turn is so big. And from an athlete's point of view, I'm fully admitting I'm an old guy, and man, do I feel that turn seems to take forever.
And I don't even attempt those records that need a turn. If you've noticed, RAJ has a mile north of us, and straight lines only, people.
Yeah, the video from the boat is hilarious to listen to the drivers work those engines to get around that corner and everything, with all you guys yelling in there.
Wow. So back to Adam's kind of question. I want to piggyback on that, Adam. Why do you think there's so much interest from our ski community? Why do people love these record-breaking events, and why does that garner so much interest within show skiing?
For my part, I think it's a challenge, and it is Gino Jockler said this a couple years ago. It's a way that we can work together, but we're still competitive. Except instead of against each other like we are at a tournament at, you know, regional or nationals, now we're all working towards the same goal, and the competition is surpassing that bar, so to speak. And we're show skiers. We're all a bunch of dumb idiots that really like to try hard stuff. Why else would we be doing this?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think recruiting people to do an NSSA record, you'll get some hands to be raised. But when you say Guinness, for some, like, I grew up flipping through the Guinness books, and to even fathom, like, I could hold one of those, and it was something I was involved in, like, wow, what if? And then, you know, down the road, like, countless barefoot line records I've been a part of that Eric's organized. And then I found more and more joy. Like, I don't find much joy of receiving a Guinness certificate anymore, because it takes so much stress to get through that day. But it's so much joy to hand out, you know, 150 certificates of, like, here's the link, order them up before Christmas. Kids will love them. And I think that's the coolest part for me that I get out of it. And it just raises so much interest from around the community. And there's one or two drivers that get to do this. And there's a lot more drivers than that in the community. So, you know, as soon as some get chosen, there's always that second, third, fourth string of drivers like, when can I get in there? Or when should we, or like, could we do another attempt like that? Or just more, like, the job is never ending.
Right.
But, I mean, if they're still hungry, no, sorry. You go ahead, Grant.
Matt, to follow up, just to give you a quick stat on that, on participation. The last time that I can remember for Chain of Records, the last one, when we opened the ballet line registration up, that was open. And we purposely had the entire main group of that committee sitting at Think Tank, and we opened it up at 5 p.m. on Saturday night of Think Tank. And we literally said, what have we gotten ourselves into? We watched the spreadsheet just fill in. And the ballet line, we were going to take 80 registrants initially. It filled in 12 minutes.
Wow.
In 12 minutes, we had more than we could do. At 30 minutes, we were over 150, and we said, oh, my Lord, what are we going to do?
That's like as fast as Taylor Swift sells tickets. Jesus. Wow. Yeah. Well, ballet doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. That's
everyone wants to to be able to have the opportunity to hold a Guinness certificate and let alone put their name on it, so it's hard to say no.
So I want to wrap up today with you guys. I think long term about this. So back in '99 in the first big pull, what was that record attempt? Was that 4 highs?
There wasn't really a big pyramid record attempt there. We tried a ton of 3 tiers. Yeah. It was like some crazy number, like 12,
I do remember that.
3 tiers or something like that.
So and let's think about what we used to think was possible 24 years ago, 25 years ago. What was possible, and the things that boggled our mind. Can we do a 60-person pyramid? And now we're up to 100. So now what is the next 5 and 10 years look like? And will we hit a cap? And will that cap, in your opinion, we've talked about all these things, be horsepower, equipment strength, or skiing talent that limits our capacity to do more?
I'll start the first thing that I can distill it down to, and this came from Evinrude engineers when they are around. Mercury engineers are now backing that up. These are people way smarter and think way better about this than I can. Propellers in the water. Yeah. That's what they distill it down to, and I agree with that with what we're seeing. That I don't know where that cap is going to hit, Matt, but somewhere what you were talking about. I don't know if it's 3 or 5 or 10 out, but that a triple rig, no matter how much horsepower we have, we can only move so much water with 3 propellers, and that, I think, is going to be our next limit. The engineers back that up. They have some math that's way over my head to do that.
Okay.
About moving volume of water. Kevin, what are your thoughts on that?
Pretty much how I started a lot of the Mercury records was taking your ideas and then okay, where else can we improve on them or innovate? And one of my immediate ideas is okay, in the 93 we had that 4 high crumble on the curl. Well, then let's just put out 16 3 highs. You can handle that on the curl, can't you? And all Guinness cares about is as long as the tier above is inferior to the one below it. That's all a pyramid is to them. Yeah. So it's but does the ski community want to see 3 highs?
No.
It's going to be, you want to see 4 highs.
Yeah.
And so there's different variables to play, left and right. I think throughout all these years, we figured out the leaders, the material, the clips, the carabiners, double them up, just minimize those failures and, remove them completely. So I'm hoping it can be skier talent just so that we can say we figured out the others. And then again, when it gets to that, then can we step down to 3 high? So it's little things like that I think we just need to, I think it'll be small increments of improvement, at least for the higher, the higher end speed, like the BFP and the barefoot line. I think those would be tough and that window is closing. But I think for the smaller ones, even the doubles and the pyramid, I think it's just getting them off the dock and underway. So I'm not sure what the Guinness requires for doubles, if they require it to be turned and go through the same pass, but sometimes it's we're not going to go, this isn't an NSSA record, we're going to do just Guinness only, and if you can accept it. So I believe that's what we did for the 93 record, was 93 didn't meet the criteria of NSSA. It has to be in a pointed pyramid, and with a broken one in the middle didn't work. So good thing that leader broke early on, and we got a clean 84. So that was the one that we submitted to NSSA. So there's a whole bunch of ins and outs, and we're just here to do it again. So keep trying.
So Eric, you said propellers in the water. So short of owning a car ferry, I mean, is somebody going to build a quad?
So I don't think, when we talk about the big record, the 145, and our goal is really, we're shooting for 200. We want to start 200 and see what we end up with. It's definitely not going to be a triple rig, and it's not going to be a ski boat as we know it. Our initial forays in is we're talking to boat manufacturers who make multi-engine outboard cabin cruisers, and if they want to come on board, and of course that's the challenge, is getting them on board. Would they provide a stripped down one? Basically, the bottom hull, don't give us the top sheet, let's just make it a deck boat or something. but where we can now put 4 or even potentially 5 outboards rigged, on the back of that with jack plates and stuff. That's our thinking right now with that. The rest of it is all planned. I have all the logistics worked out, how we could get the teams involved, where we'd hold it, because it's a long record too. Mm-hmm. It is a nautical mile, which I think is about 1.3 land miles. So we have to go significantly further than what we're used to for that to count.
On the other records, though, do we, Kev, do you see a quad Merc boat happening? Is Legacy have capacity? Is there a boat? Will we see a quad boat in show skiing, even if it's just for record-breaking stuff like pyramids or ballets or doubles?
I think the transom width is what will limit us, even when it hits to the towing down the road for oversized load. And I don't think even insuring one of those and whatnot, it's
and money.
I don't see it as the ski team boat, but these big, the big money guys, if you can hook up with one of those and be resourceful, they got 6, 500s on the back of them now. You put a very low, one of our props on there, like a ski team prop on there, that thing might just keep moving. But it's just going to take correlating who you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to come down to money because at the end of the day, right? There's not a team out there that's going to out ski a triple 500, right? I mean, they're no way.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, RAJ is trying to we've been stopping our triple 300 sometimes on a slow pull, but then we've learned already of okay, just change the props and there's a whole world of difference, and wow, we can pull it off slower and still save everyone. So there's a lot more to these engines that we've really looked into, and that's why instead of adding 600 pounds under the back, and I got too many heads to convince on RAJ for that to even sniff happening. But so we'll stick with this, and propellers are more affordable. But please do it, Shawano. Let's do this. So
can't wait to see it. Can't wait for these events. Gentlemen, this has been awesome today. So fun to talk about all these things, what's possible, what's not, what your experience is. Thank you for sharing this with our audience. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank
you guys.
Adam, wow. You going to be in any records yourself?
No. I do have a story about one, though. 97.
Is it a kneeboard record?
No. Eric or Matt, were you there in La Crosse when we did this?
Oh, yeah.
I know. I have heard about this. This lives in infamy, by the way. I think it's a little later than 97, but I know
97. It was before. I was in college, so it was definitely. Yeah, so was I. I skied.
I was behind the boat.
So have you guys heard, and somebody needs to explain it to me because I still don't understand how it works. A pylon to pylon transfer. So 2 boats take off, right, side by side, and then they transfer the ropes from one boat to the other. I don't know how it works, man.
Then they release the other one.
Yep.
And this lives in infamy, Adam. I mean, this was when we started doing all the record breaking. We heard all about this pull, and holy cow! And the one boat took off. They thought they were released, and they weren't.
Because they spun out and they didn't. They rolled the boat. So Jerry Wessner, Betsy Duran, a couple others that were in the boat. Jerry was the driver of the boat. They were still hooked together, rolled the boat. Everything came to a stop. Everybody was okay, thankfully. Yeah. But they literally rolled the boat at 25 miles an hour onto its face. It was unreal.
Yeah.
So there you go. It wasn't part of a record, but part of history.
That's a story.
That's right. Yeah.
Part of history.
Keep Adam on shore.
Well, we could do a number of announcers behind a boat, and that would probably take a pickup boat with a 50 horse, and we'd probably set the record.
Let's do it.
It's doable. Yep. Great stuff today, man. That was fun to learn all that about all these records. Can't wait to see what comes next. What's next in the sport? Lots coming, Adam.
Yeah, and thanks again to today's sponsors, Flyman Skis, custom-made jump skis and featherboard swivel skis at affordable prices. And soon with honeycomb jumpers added to their lineup. Get all your skis at flymanskis.com. And by the board shop, all your summer and winter sports gear is yours at bswake.com.
Do not forget the Ski Show Awards. Make sure you're there. Friday night at Think Tank, March 1st. it is the off-season event to be at. Cocktail attire. Get your tickets online at thinktankwi.com. It's going to be an awesome night.
Thanks again to all of our listeners. This is Matt and Adam, and this is The Ski Show.
Thank you for listening to The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast with Matt and Adam. If you have questions or ideas for the show, find us on social media or message us at theskishowpodcast@gmail.com.